I'm kind of curious to do a informal single survey question about people's experiences with Gen AI. I'm curious who currently works on a team that is actively developing products with Gen AI? Wow, that's a lot. That's like 30, 40%. Okay, let's go the other way. Who is currently in a company that where they're not even talking about Gen AI? Okay, well, enough said. There we go. I knew Gen AI was a big deal because my parents recently asked me about it. And I don't know what the opposite of a canary in a coal mine is. Do anyone have an idea? Michael's parents in a retirement community? I feels like the opposite idea, but that I was like, oh my God, we're fully have jumped. The hype cycle is on. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Dscout and AI and maybe sharing some of my hot takes about AI as well. So I'm gonna jump into it. Our mission at Dscout and the way we kind of talk about it is building a more human tomorrow. So, and one of the things that gives me a lot of gratitude as a founder is I kind of feel like this is happening every day on Dscout. It's not because we're really doing it; it's really what you're doing, right? Which is you're literally bringing humans into the creation of new products and services and things that are very essential to the way we live modern life, right? So anytime I'm feeling a little down and we got bad news, I literally will just go through what's being posted on Dscout today. It kind of reminds me of the progress we're making. Makes me feel good. So thank you for that. And Gen AI is really, I think, a pivotal moment for our mission. In a lot of ways, I think it can supercharge what we're doing. So many of the challenges we talked about in the field yesterday. Noam, we had a great conversation about like rigor and speed. Those are historical trade-offs. Maybe not anymore. There's some ways that we can really move a lot faster. But it also really raises a lot of questions about our mission. You know, you'll hear the conversation today about what is it to be human? You know, what is this different form of intelligence? You know, sometimes I think we're feeling like we're not just trying to make better products. Now we're in this challenge of almost supporting humanity, right? So there's a lot in it. So was this rose tint, you feel like pretty good? That's what I was going for. So okay, little rose tinted glasses for sure. You know, but I think one of the things we've really tried to do at Dscout is to resist the urge to go fast. And I can tell you, this is really hard. I feel it every day. I see a lot of products launched. Poor Kevin, I assault him with, with Slack messages about this technology and that technology, right? There's this real push. This is an article from actually a VC firm I generally respect a lot called the NFX Guild. They read a lot about tech trends. They're worth checking out. But this article really pissed me off. Okay, this article is about AI and speed, and it's going to startups and saying, you're not moving fast enough. AI, you need to move 10x faster. And I think we've all probably felt this. The AI fever dreams that have like grabbed everyone, where I feel like we're in this moment of collective amnesia where a lot of product teams, certainly startup product teams, are just like, let's just make shit. We don't need to talk to people. Let's just get it out there, right? And so, this is the part that really annoyed me, which is in their speed things, it was the adopt this fuck it mentality, right? And you're like, what are you talking about? And I think startups talk about that a lot. I think we all went through, the move fast and break things kind of moment, but this is especially tricky with this technology. Because this technology, as our previous speakers have talked about, it's a tricky technology. Kevin used the word stochastic, which I was like, Kevin, what does that mean? I don't know that word. Okay, but I kind of think like it's the world's best. Like it's gonna win any rap battle. Okay, that's how I think about it. You throw it down, it's gonna be like, I got it. I'm just gonna take it. You try to get it to do like a thoughtful album and then play that album again and again. GPT don't like that. Do not put GPT in a corner, okay? It wants to it wants to be non-deterministic, right? And so this is a model developed by a company called Anthropic. I don't know if you've heard of Anthropic. They have a LLM called Claude, which is kind of one of the big emerging models to compete with OpenAI and Google. And they have this, when you build a model, there's this, or you take an LLM off the shelf. I like to kind of think of it like a material, and there's this step called alignment. And think about that like you're tailoring clothes to suit your use case. And the Anthropic alignment model kind of has these 3 H's. We would call that a framework, which are like how you think about tailoring a model to work for a use case and humans. So they kind of, the 3 H's are helpful, do what's in the best interest of the humans using the model, harmless, avoid things that hurt humans and bias, and then honest, let's convey accurate information and avoid deception. So I kind of say, okay, we're all like, yeah, those things make sense, right? Seems logical. But what's amazing to me is this move fast mentality when the creators of the models like know that, let's go with the opposite words, useless, harmful, and hallucinating, right? So these are known quantities of these models, right? I'm going to give you a tiny example of what you talked about. As I've been working on this, I got on Midjourney. I love Midjourney's crazy. And I typed in, okay, because I wanted to create some pictures from my talk. I don't know why I'm not showing this to you. I'll find it later. I'll share it out. Add it to your list. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do a picture of a Flemish master, because you have to kind of like specify the type of painting. A Flemish master portrait of a software engineer having fever dreams of ChatGPT. That was what I put in. And what I got back was a white guy laying down, okay, with, it was the style was amazing. A white guy laying down with like hundreds of cats around him. Okay, and the reason is that cat is, can you stand up? Come on. We didn't even plan this. ChatGPT, you see right there? Okay, so, it thinks chat is a cat, right? So it's gonna, that's the hallucinating part, right? But the subtle bias part is the person that chose to put in the frame, right? Because again, it's a suit, maybe again, not inaccurately based on data, but it kind of picked the character, right? And so I think that part of what happens in these models is, and I think you'll hear this from other speakers, like these are things that happen all the time with these models, right? They're very, it's a very tricky material to work with. So that's why we have decided not to launch in head first. You actually haven't seen Dscout announcements around these things because we've really been trying to practice what we preach and have a pretty methodical approach here, one that is very much involved around research. We have dedicated researchers working on our AI ML efforts. They're especially important not only to do classic research, but they also do a lot of work to validate model output for us. So it's like a whole nother level of engagement that we need to take on. So we've done foundational work, which you'll hear from today. We've done generative work to really make sure we're finding areas where we think we're serving your needs and understanding kind of what matters. We've done a lot of iterative loops. And then we're also currently actively engaged in doing pilot work with customers. So if you want to get engaged in our pilot, you'll just head over to that booth over there and talk to the team, and they can kind of explain what's in it. So again, we're trying to do a very research-informed approach. But there's another way we're trying to really be patient and methodical on this, which is really starting with a foundation of data privacy and security. This is the really boring stuff, but the really important stuff. And I want to just call out 3 things. First off, Dscout has a lot of its standards we have to adhere to. We're actually one of the highest standards organizations in the field. We have high trust. I don't even know what that barely means, but it is a very hard to get healthcare standard, okay? And it was really important when we started going down this path to make sure that any AI vendors or providers we were working with adhered to those standards. So they don't always do that, and you have to sign special, expensive agreements to make sure that they do. There's also a really important concept which I would encourage you to ask your vendors, which is around retention. Typically, AI vendors will not typically train on your data that they store, but they will store data for 30 days. So the standard form is when you send data out, they're going to keep it for a while, okay? And then they're going to send it back. We really went to the mat to make sure that all Dscout data that we're sharing with our providers has what's called the zero retention pipeline, meaning goes out, we do the analysis, and then it's destroyed, right? So we're not keeping the data in third-party services. And the last comment I'd say is, I know many of you work on teams that are like all over it. Some of you are like, no, we don't want to use any of the AI stuff. It is for us going to be opt-in features set up on account levels. So if you don't want to participate in our AI, which I think would be, you'll miss out on some cool stuff, which I'm going to show you, you do have that option. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're approaching it from a feature development standpoint. You'll see some more visualizations later. I think the main comment and where we're really trying to take things is we see you as, to stay in the land of food, you can tell we like to eat a lot and talk about food a lot, like you're the chef. We don't think AI needs to be your chef. We don't think it needs to come up with menu ideas for you, right? Or prepare the meal. So we're really looking for, but you could probably use a sous chef. You may not want to peel all your potatoes. Our work can be really labor intensive. And so the sorts of features we're exploring are how can we really speed up, say, your work. In this case, this is a concept we're working through called user-directed auto-tagging, where you tell us the categories that you want to tag a open-ended question in, and then we can just get through it really fast for you, right? So those are areas where we can take hours and hours of work out of your workflow while still giving you kind of like I said, the control of the kitchen, in terms of what you're interested in. Another area, and this is kind of more classic AI, you will see us kind of adding summarization as well as some, it's jumping off points, thematic generation into our platform as well. These are pretty good use cases for GenAI. But what you'll see in that is that we're really focused on making sure that you can see how the machine came up with what it said. So you can actually always tie summarization, even sentences in a summary, as well as themes to the root content that in an open-ended response. So you can kind of validate that we kind of got it in the right way. So I think this sense of, while it is a black box, we can't always tell you why, and we're going to be wrong for sure sometimes. The hope is at least you have easy ways to kind of QA and vet kind of what's coming back. So I guess it's obvious. We've really focused our initial efforts in the world of analysis. We did a lot of research with people. It seemed like a very clear place to begin. And so we are currently in pilot. We'll be in alpha this quarter and beta and GA in Q1, kind of with 3 core functionalities that we're exploring. As I mentioned, summarization, theme, topic, and sentiment generation across open-ends. And especially, we're starting in our Express product. We'll expand out from there. And then lastly, this concept of user-driven auto tags, which I cannot promise will be available in G1. But it's definitely an area that we're really excited to pursue.